Welcome back to the Us vs. Them YouTube channel. I'm your host Vince, and we're going to break down the featured fight for the UFC 322 fight card this weekend. We got Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. Sean Brady's sitting at a minus 148, so he's sitting at a slight favorite right now. And then you got Morales on the other side at a plus 116, so he's a slight underdog. Before I get into the breakdown, if I could just remind you guys, hit the like button for this video, subscribe to the channel and all that bullshit. Just helps the channel grow and all that stuff. And I really appreciate that. So also thank you guys for watching, and let's get into this breakdown. Once again in this fight, we kind of have a striker versus grappler matchup. That's kind of a common theme that you will see throughout this fight card. But, you know, obviously we're going to have that again. You got Sean Brady on the one side, who's got, you know, really good takedowns, tremendous top pressure. I mean, he's been kind of just smothering guys on top recently and just using his really high-level grappling to just dominate guys. Then on the other side of that, you have Michael Morales, who's, you know, kind of known for being a KO artist. He's 18-0 with 13 KOs, and right now he's coming off back-to-back KOs over, who is it? It is Gilbert Burns and Neil Magny. So, very high-level striker versus very high-level grappler. It's going to be a really exciting matchup. To me, I think this fight is pretty straightforward. I think when it comes to the striking, I think Michael Morales is going to have a lot of advantages. I think both of these guys are fairly well-rounded, but I think where they both shine very much over the other guy. So when it comes to the striking, Morales is going to have the advantage. So as long as this fight is going to stay on the feet, it's going to favor Morales. But he's going to have to face the high pressure and the high level wrestling of Brady, you know. And when he gets guys on top, when he gets on top of guys, he tends to stay on top of guys. He's got very, very high level pressure, and he tends to smother guys on top. So wherever this fight happens to occur, that's where we're going to find who the winner is. Whoever can make the fight happen where they want it to. I think early on in this fight, Morales is going to find some success in keeping this fight a striking fight. Both guys are going to be obviously start the fight dry. They're going to start fresh. They're not going to be tired. And when you got a guy like Michael Morales, who's younger and explosive and fast and athletic, you know, obviously that guy is going to be really, really difficult to take down when he's fresh. So I definitely see it early in the fight, especially in the first round. This is going to be primarily a striking bout, and I see that's going to probably go more obviously towards Michael Morales. But as this fight starts to go deeper, we start to enter in rounds 2 and rounds 3, we're going to start to see the pressure of Sean Brady start to take over, and we're going to start to see him find some more success in the takedowns. And once he starts to find that success, like I said, once he's on top, he's going to stay on top. So there's going to be a shift at some point throughout this fight. So the real question is, when is that shift going to occur? And once that shift occurs, does Michael Morales get a finish before it happens? Because that could happen. Michael Morales could go out there and knock him out in the first round, and then the fight's over. But if he doesn't do that, is he going to do enough damage in the first 2 rounds to be able to slide into the third round and be like, all right, I'm up 2-0, I can coast, and all I got to do is survive? So those are the big questions that we have to ask ourselves when we're breaking down this fight. Obviously, we have seen Sean Brady get knocked out before by Belal Muhammad, which isn't really a good look because Belal Muhammad is not known for his striking skills. He's not the Canelo of the division or whatever the fuck he was saying. He's just not that guy. So, but he did score a knockout over Sean Brady. And that is a little bit alarming when it comes to, you know, Sean Brady going into a fight with Michael Morales, because if Belal can knock him out, Morales should be able to, he shouldn't have any problems at all knocking him out. But to me, I don't think it's that simple. I think Belal found success because of his wrestling, or more specifically in this case, his anti-wrestling. I think Belal is a very high-level wrestler, especially compared to Michael Morales. So he was able to dictate where the fight occurred, and he decided to keep the fight on the ground and ended up landing a combination that led to the finishing sequence, and he ended up getting the KO against Sean Brady. So I think where Belal found success, I don't think Michael Morales is going to be able to find that success. It's been pretty much already stated that this is a title eliminator fight. So both these guys had to do some really impressive things leading up to this fight to place themselves in the position to where winner is probably going to fight for the title. But when you looked at what Michael Morales has done recently and what has put him in this position for a title eliminator fight, he's coming off back-to-back knockouts over Neil Magny and Gilbert Burns. And to be honest with you, Gilbert Burns is just not the same fighter that we saw against Chimaev, or that we saw fighting against Usman and fighting for the title. When he was at the top of the division, that was when he was at his peak. But this is an older version of Gilbert Burns, and I just don't put a lot of value on him getting a knockout over Gilbert. Neil Magny, he's really durable, but he's also kind of a journeyman in the division. He's also kind of perennially that 15th ranked or a little bit less. You beat Neil Magny, and then you get a chance to fight for a ranked guy. That's kind of how he is. So you knocked out Neil Magny, and then you knocked out Gilbert Burns. I just don't really think that's super high level or super, impressive. And I think, when it comes to a fighter like Sean Brady, he's going to have a lot more challenges finding that chin and getting a knockout versus his last two opponents. Listen, this will be a big step up in competition for Michael Morales. This is definitely on paper, and I think in reality, the toughest fighter that he's ever fought in Sean Brady. And I definitely think it's also the toughest grappler he's ever fought. Michael Morales, we have seen on the regional scene and on the Contender Series and in the UFC, he has been taken down before. He does a pretty good job of bouncing right back up and doesn't get controlled, but he's never fought somebody like Sean Brady. So if he does find himself in those positions where he's making one little mistake and getting taken down, that could be a situation that ends up losing him the round or even potentially the fight. Sean Brady gets on your back and it's pretty much game over. So, but once he is on top, he pretty much, like I said, smothering pressure, he stays on top. He does a really, really good job of that. So one little mistake and he gets a takedown and the round is over. For my official prediction, I'm obviously leaning towards Sean Brady to get this one done. I think the grappling is going to be a little too much, and I think he's going to be able to find the takedowns that he's looking for. And I do think, in a 3-round fight, it's going to probably be a really close decision. I think it's probably going to be 29-28. I see Michael Morales, like I said, probably winning the first round, and then rounds 2 and 3, that's where we start to see Sean Brady's grappling and pressure start to take over. So for my official prediction, I'm going to go with Sean Brady by decision. If this was a 5-round fight, I definitely would be leaning towards Sean Brady by submission. I think 25 minutes is just way too long for Morales to be in there with this dude. But I think he can survive 15 minutes. So official prediction, give me Sean Brady by decision. That prop is sitting at plus 190, and I think that's got pretty good value. So I can definitely see us incorporating that into our parlays. So stay tuned for that. That's all I got for you guys in this breakdown. Stop by for our next video where I'm breaking down Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates. That's going to be a sick fight, very high possibility of a KO, so stop by for that breakdown, and that's all I got for you guys, so I'm the fuck out of here.